Hello everybody, how are we doing? Nice to see you. Now, why is my game not showing up? There you go. Hope you're all well. It's Friday night. We've managed to do it 5 nights in a row. I'll start with some rather good news tonight. Argsy let me know today that we are going to do a multiplayer live stream tomorrow night on Marksville. So you can look forward to that. That will be the last live stream of the week. We'll go back to Bull's Gap for the Sunday episode. But evening everyone, how are we doing? Quantum, Costigan, Sai, Bootneck, Dadeel, Scorp, Jaden, Matt, Hamish, how you doing? Edgar, nice to have you here. Thierry, Mercedes fan, I saw something about you being your birthday tomorrow. Happy birthday. Raimon, Griffin, Mark, how you doing? Drulak, nice to see everybody. Madison, hey everyone, how are you doing tonight? Okay, we are going to do something a bit different tonight. And we talked about it last night. Oh, hi Esab, Longhill, Keith. Good to have you all here, guys. And Paul Campbell's here too, cracky. There's too many of you now. I can't say hello to everybody anymore. Vincent, TNJ. So a 2-hour stream of me saying hello to people. Yeah, we're going to do something a bit different tonight. So somebody actually asked in Matt, there you go, Matt88876, how do I get these camera shots? Well, Matt, you've probably come to the best stream of the week to find out that. So what we're going to do tonight is we are going to record a map tour. So this map, Newbrook Farm, is from Peter716, who did Greenlands, and he did New Park Farm. And he sent me this early, so this isn't in the mod hub yet. It'll be coming out in the next week or so. But I thought it'd be quite a good one to do, because I've got it lined up to do a map tour. So I thought, well, why don't I record that live, record the map tour live, and then we'll edit it together, and then I'll release it as tomorrow's video, and you will have seen the process I go through in the background. So to your question, Matt, how do I get those cinematic shots? I'll show you how I do those. I'll voice over my tour of the map and all of that. The only challenge I've got is if I was recording this, I'm basically going to have to record my footage, stream it, and play the game at the same time. So it might start to creak a little bit in terms of frame rates and things like that. So I'll just have to keep an eye on that. I have recorded the tour already, so I've got that as a backup if it all goes horribly wrong. I actually planned ahead for this one. So we'll just see how it goes. But I haven't done any of the cinematic shots or sort of the end stuff, and then we'll jump into the edit afterwards in Premiere Pro. The other thing, I also edit on both my screens as well, but obviously you guys can only see one screen tonight. So what I want to do is, let me see how I can do that. What I want to do is to be able to show you everything that's happening when I'm editing the screen. We'll do the thumbnail as well. We'll design that and we'll get that finished. So I'll show you how to do screenshots, nice screenshots as well. And we'll take it from there. So, you know what? It's let's see if we can get it done in 2 hours. Yeah, I've just come off the back of watching Argsy's intro video to his survival series. It's looking like it's got massive potential, hasn't it? So let's jump in. First things first, we'll get set up. So basically what I do when I start a new map is I'll probably just go and have a nosy around. I'll look at the PDA. Now this is a tiny map. This is ported from FS13. So it's a really old map. It's a Peter716 map from FS13, hence the reason it's so small, but actually it's quite nice from that perspective. So I tend to have a look around the map. I work out what's what. You know, look at the main farm, for example, here. We started this in new farmer mode because people sometimes like to see what kit they'll get. This is coming out on console, by the way, this map as well, so that's good. So we've got chickens here. We can see those. So what I tend to do, I'll usually do the speed up as well. I'll just basically go and work out where everything is. So there we go. We know there's a cattle pen there. We know there is a pig pen there. Silo here. So I just basically get myself acquainted with it. Have a look in there. Oh, something that's always worth checking as well is go inside and find out that they're silage bunkers as well. Second cow pen there and a sheep pasture here. Try and work out where some of the triggers are as well. And basically just get used to the map. Also, you can jump into easy dev tools. It's always quite good to have a little fly up and work out where everything else is. So there's the shop and the town. BGA over there. So I'm just getting used to where everything is. And I think over here is the some of the sell points. Yeah, there's a milk. Is that a milk sell point? It looks like wool, and that's your dairy. So again, sometimes they get overlapped here, but yeah, bale sell point there, milk, animal dealers there as well. And there looks like another farm up here. So there's a pickup up there. That's from when I was doing my tour the other day. So, and then just have a quick look around the fields. Like I said, it's a tiny little map, but it's really, really nice. It's not out yet, Mercedes. It's coming out in the next week or so. I've got early access to it from Peter 716, which is nice. But it is coming out on console and PC. So lots of contours, lots of up and down. So it's like you look for features in the map, things that kind of make it quite quirky. So there's some seriously steep hills here. I wouldn't want to drive a tractor up that particularly. A little bit of a forestry area there as well. So evening, Jacob, how's it going? Doing it, astronaut, loving the server. Good for you. Congratulations on finishing your exams, William. That's awesome. Prickly Boy and Mobius, welcome. How you doing, guys? There's all our equipment inside as well. So we'll look at that as well in a little minute. But there we go. So that is, I would obviously spend a little bit longer doing that. So what I'll do then is I would record my intro. And what I tend to do, if you've seen any of my other tours, is usually buy a vehicle, usually one of the pickups. Well, all I've got in here tonight are the base game mods. Haven't installed any additional vehicle mods. I always tend to do that to keep load times down for a new map. So what I'll do, if you've seen my 25 useful mods that I always start every game with, I've got PV tools running. So I've set up this map with my 25 favourite mods in, all downloaded, so I've got access to all the tools that I need to do easy things in the map, like easy dev, and I've got HUD toggle as well, which will hide my HUD completely, so I can take screenshots and things like that. And it just gives me the flexibility then to play around while I'm capturing my stuff. So basically what I'll do then is this is in the wrong place. This would have obviously been at the shop. Thank you, White. I appreciate that. Yeah, there's I just kind of have found over the years that there are certain mods that you just rely on to be there all the time. So and that's one of the reasons why PV Tools is a really, really handy little bit of kit to have, because it means that you don't have to go and tick those 25. You know, when you're scrolling through your mods list and you've got 1,000, 2,000 mods like I have, trying to find those 25 mods is a real pain in the backside. So from that perspective, it's good to have them. Separated out in PV Tools, and you can just transfer them into a map. So literally, I can start a map up in seconds now, rather than about the 5 minutes it used to take me to trawl through stuff. TNJ, what software do I edit? I was, up until recently, using HitFilm Express. HitFilm Pro, actually, I'd switched to. But HitFilm Express, but I've just switched over to Premiere Pro, because what I want to do now is separate my mic audio out from my game audio, which gives me a bit more flexibility when I'm editing, and HitFilm didn't do that. It rolled it all into one audio track. Funnily enough, that's what you have to do when you're streaming as well. Everything goes through one audio track. So that's the challenge tonight when I'm recording this. So what ideally I would do is would record the video, and then I can play with the audio track as well. Do I know how to get better FPS in FS19, Benny? To be honest, there's a limitation to the game, Benny. To be honest, that's the biggest problem. You can have the most powerful card. I mean, I'm running an RTX 2080 and 32 gig of RAM and a Ryzen 7 processor, which I get isn't top of the line, but it's not a slow PC. but the game, the way that the game uses graphics and the processor and the RAM, there is a cap on it at the moment. And then with developers, well, modders pushing the limits of what you can do in maps, and upping the detail levels and things like that, the frame rates are dropping all the time. And again, if you've got badly optimized mods, they'll have a real impact on your game performance as well. So probably the best solution if you want smooth running game, Benny, is run the base game maps and run the base game mods. That's probably as optimized as it's going to get. So what we would do from here, I would jump in, I would do my little voiceover. I'd talk about. I usually head to the main farm first, and I like to talk about kind of any things you spot when you're driving around. I always think it's interesting how much detail modders put into things like hedgerows and fences and things like that. It really is, a labour of love for some of these guys. It just astounds me that they do this stuff for free, like as a hobby. The amount of effort that goes into it is nuts. I mean, when you think of the hours that go into this, if you've ever watched somebody like MRG stream live and things like that, just hours and days of stuff. So what I would do then, I would give a quick tour of the farm, show where all the animal points were, and things like that. Talk about the benefits of why things are in certain places, why you've got 2 silage clamps here. Talk about how authentic it is as well. If it's a British map, obviously, I'm from the UK, so again, this feels not a million miles away from home for me. Very, very green, very lush. A few hills in the background there. Big difference between this and the US maps. I have to go off my judgment a little bit more with US maps. But actually, funnily enough, Argsy and I were saying the other night, there's something really nice about maps that are based on real places, and then you go onto Google Maps and have a look at the real images from those places and seeing how close they replicate them. It's amazing. It's Marksville. MRG's absolutely nailed that. It's absolutely spot on. So, really, really good. I would do a quick tour of the farm here. Talk about things like turning circles, the size of machinery that you'd want to consider using on these. Because let's be honest, you're not going to get a Steiger through here and it turned around very easily in this place. So it's all about at the end of the day, you can play it how you want to. But the reality is, this is probably a small and a medium tractor map, and not much more than that. And then I tend to go in a bit of a clockwise manner. I'll also look at the PDA. Usually tell people how many fields there are, roughly the prices for them. So I think 24 there is 102,000. Field 10 there's 120. Should also show you what you get at the start of a new game as well. So that's always interesting for people to know, especially if you start a new farm, or obviously if you start in Farm Manager or start from scratch. You get none of this, but I think new farms are as good as anywhere to start. Also jump into what you get at the start of the game as well. So a couple of nice little Valtras there. And a lot of the pretty standard kit that you would usually get, that horrible offset mower, which was the bane of my life last week. And Peter does some nice placeables as well, so you get those included in the map, which is nice addition. So we usually talk through that stuff just so people know what they've got if they're starting from scratch. I did actually talk about this the other night. He's done a really nice job here, where you get to the edge of the map, and actually this isn't the end of the map, is it? He's done a really nice job of blending in the edge of the map, so you barely can tell where the map stops. I'll show you in a little minute. One of the benefits, I suppose, of not having the map completely filling the space of a standard size map. So if we head up here to the BGA, There's a BGA in there. I won't stop in there, but I'll head up to the sell point up here as well. The noise feels quite quiet. Maybe I've just got my headphones turned down. Oh yeah, that was it. That's what it was. So this is the sell points. You basically, I'd get out and talk through all those sell points, things like that. And then we would, just so you've seen it. So here's the edge of the map. But look what he's done. Hasn't he done a really good job with that? Look, the road disappears off into the distance. I can't go any further than this. That is the edge of the map. So I can't walk forward. But isn't that nice? That it just doesn't stop dead. Or, you know, if there isn't traffic on this map, but if there was, the traffic just disappears off the map. So just really nice touches like that. It's always worth kind of flagging stuff like that. Even in Fusion, how's it going? So that's basically, I'll do the drive around. I'll talk about everything. Obviously, on the bigger maps, or the maps with more stuff on them, it takes a lot longer. West Texas, I think, is the biggest map tour I've done. That was about 47 minutes. So there we go. Evening, Morella. The beets were finished last night on, or today on Yukon River Valley. 1.7 million litres of sugar beet, which is quite a lot. So after I've done the tour, what I tend to do then is I think there's an egg sale point in here and things like that. Yep, so there's an egg sale point there. So cover all of those off. Talk about some of the buildings if he's got some nice classic buildings, and then what you'll do is I'll tend to jump into flight state again, and just pop it up in the air and do some panoramic passes. So I would turn off my HUD for that using HUD toggle. Evening, Scott, how's it going? I'm not recording Griffin because I've already done the VO, so basically I've walked through what I recorded last night. I was too worried that it would be too jerky. But these kind of shots, basically I'm using the two joysticks of the thumbsticks on my steering wheel. It was a tip Argsy told me actually, that it's a lot smoother if you do it. It's a lot smoother if you do it with the joysticks than if you do it with the keyboard and mouse, because you can get a bit jerky with the keyboard and mouse. So even if you play with keyboard and mouse, but you might have a PlayStation controller, try doing any cinematic shots you're doing with your PlayStation controller, because you do have a lot more control over it. So basically I'll fly around, get some nice different angles, flying through the trees and things like that. Hey Jarrett, how you doing? You made it, mate. 5 nights in a row, dude. Jacob, this is even, I've forgotten now what it's called. Newbrook Farm by Peter716. It's not been released yet, but I'm interested to know if you where you recognise it from. Because it's not a new map, it's just been ported over to FS19. So yeah, little pan shots like this, get a bit of atmosphere in there. The other thing you can do as well, again, an easy dev mod tip, maps look awesome in the evening with the colour change and stuff like that and the long shadows. So again, don't just do everything in the middle of the day if you're shooting nice cinematic shots. Always nice to do them in the evening and things like that. So there you go, Fusion, every time. Just have it sitting on your desk, mate. So you can fly up a little bit higher, so people can see the fields. You can do some nice spin arounds. It actually becomes quite an easy thing to get used to in the end. Shooting to the sun as well is a nice tip. Again, you get some really nice shots, just a bit more atmospheric. Actually, one of the things that is really nice about FS19 is some of the lighting effects. on some of the maps. Again, if you've got, and I'm not sure I've got it. Oh, I have the additional settings tool, custom lighting. I don't have any other maps installed here, but if you want to do, you could pick a different lighting set for here. So you could actually use Chellington lighting in a different map, which is awesome. Which is really, really nice. Vehicle camera smoothness and player camera smoothness as well. They can help making your cinematics a lot smoother as well. So, so I'm fully expecting, Jarrett, everybody to be doing FS videos after this. After tonight, I'm gonna let all my trade secrets out. Probably going to be ostracized from the FS community. All the YouTubers are going to be, don't tell him our secrets. But why not? If I'm not here to share, what am I here to do? Head of the game, Fusion. They do work. I notice a big difference. I think they work a lot better. So nice shots like this, nice pan shots and things like that. Then, and sometimes I don't do this, sometimes I do. It depends on how big the map tour is and how much information is in it. But I think it, yes, I want it all on my desk on Monday morning, Dad. Drop out of flight state again. And what we'll do here is try and work out where the combine harvester is. I think it's down here. No, I've done that thing where I've lost. Oh, there it is. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get some vehicle shots. So was it Matt? Matt who asked at the start, how do you get your vehicle shots? How do you get your nice vehicle shots? Well, this is how. And I'm going to show you the easiest way to do this. Now, bear in mind, we're not really playing the game here, right? We are making a vid. And there's a big difference between playing the game and making a vid. And that's another tip, actually. Don't just play FS to make vids, or you will lose the will to live very quickly. Because it is quite... it's quite long and drawn out, to be honest. Just sometimes take some time to play the game and enjoy it. Hey Carson, how's it going? Thanks for joining, mate. I got you back into FS19. Well, that's great. I appreciate you dropping me a note, mate. That's awesome. So what I'm doing here, you were like, well, I need to get this into a field somehow, right? But what I'm going to do, like I said, this is all done off camera. What I'm going to do, I'm going to chuck it into field 18, but the best way to do that is to go into easy dev mods, teleport vehicles. You've got X and Y, so you could put coordinates in there if you wanted, but the easiest thing to do is just go to field 18, and when I click on that button, it sends your combine right to the middle of that field. Oh, there you go. That's something else you probably need to do before you start as well, is make sure you've got crop destruction turned off, so that you don't wreck your crops when you land in the field. But basically, we can head up here. So there's the gate. This is a very narrow little farm, so from that perspective, it's quite good. That teleport thing is such, like, can't tell you how much time that saves you if you're shooting vids. That you're not having to drive everything across the map to get it to where you need to do it, especially on the bigger maps. So I also tend to leave auto engine stop-start on when I'm recording things as well, because it's just difficult otherwise. So what I'll do here, now again, this this doesn't always work because you've got a bit of trial and error. But basically, set up a courseplay course on field 18. We'll do, I don't know, 3 headlands. Start working on the headland passes. We're going to do round turn radius corners because it's quite tight here. That does mean we'll leave some crop in the corner of the fields, but that's okay because really we're not doing this to play the game again. We're playing this to get the footage. Oh, does it? Scorp? So let's generate that. So that's what it looks like. And I'm just going to check that thing that Scorp said there. This is another brilliant one as well. Basic machines in the shop. So if you've got a load of mods installed and you never use any of the base game machines, you can turn them off. Look, if I go into small tractors now, it's only got the DLCs. All the base game tractors are away. Even more so in something like, I don't know, slurry tankers. There you go, there's only one in there. So that's quite a nice one to do. Okay, as you can see, we're running at 5 times, so I can turn that down to 1. And I'm going to reset my clock because it's starting to get dark now. So do something middle of the day like that. We'll go into our settings. We'll turn off the start and end arrows for Courseplay as well there. So we've got a clean shot when we do it. And I think that might be us. Start course at first waypoint and hit drive course. Now hopefully it'll drop his header and it'll go the right way. What I might just do here is close the gate. You see the gates in the field? So he's going to get into a position where he's going to start driving. Now, let me show you. Basically, I'm going to turn flight mode on again. Oh, he's doing the thing where has he started yet? I think he's done that thing where he's not started with the header. Right, we'll stop him. So you see stuff like this happens all the time. First waypoint. See where he goes to now. I hope this is good, guys. Hope you're enjoying this. I know it's a little bit different to normal. So see, we've got stuck on something there. So things like that you can't compensate for really. But it's better to find them out here. In fact, this field, I might just jump out of this field, it's quite small, and we'll drop into field 22. So again, look, it would be a real pain in the backside to ship away all the way up to field 22, but with easy dev, we can very quickly be in another field. Hey Scooter, how's it going? So let's get ourselves into a semi-sensible position. Sometimes this happens as well, you have to jump out and jump back in for courseplay. So we'll kill that course, we'll do course generation on field 22. Everything else has stayed, kept all the other settings. So we'll just hit generate there. And what I want to do here, what we'll do is we'll just turn it on and we'll drop the header to avoid any problems. And we'll hit drive course and he'll find his way to wherever he needs to go. Yes, he's doing a U-turn at the moment. I know this is not particularly attractive, but it's Raleigh Christie's in the house. How you doing, sir? Great to see you. And Kadek as well. The big boys are in. Probably don't want Kadek to see this because he'll be like, "Don't tell everybody the trade secrets." So the combine is now running. Okay, that's what we want it to be doing. Now this is where the magic happens. So we've got flight mode enabled. So now you can see you can get some really nice shots of combines moving in the field. You can turn your HUD off so you can't see anything. Now here's a trick. See this here? Set field of view angle. You've got your standard field of view angle here. So you can see it's quite wide angle, and you can tell that really when you get close up to combines. You can see how distorted that is. Now, human eye doesn't see things like that. Hit F11, field of view angle, set that to 30. Now watch this. Completely different way of showing your content off. Looks much more much more realistic. And then it's a case of jumping on those joysticks and following your combine around the field. So I am going to hit the record button now because I haven't got this stuff yet. So if I start going really glitchy, but you can follow your combine. This is when you fly up in the air, follow behind him. And what I would do with all of this, always count to 10. 10 seconds of footage. If you're cutting, I tend to cut every sort of 5 or 6 seconds between things, so it stops people getting bored. Look at that, it's not picking up crop now either, is it? Why is that? It was to start with. There's probably 2 crops in here, that's probably what it is. So if you get problems like that as well, this is a good tip. If you get problems like that, again, you can go into your field and you can set your fruit. So let's change it to soybeans. Oh, and you probably want to set the growth state to the grown size. But there you go, look, we've completely changed the crop in that field straight away. Right, I'm going to jump in here now. And I'm going to stop this. See, there's wheat now in our combine, but we're in a soybean field. So what you do is you can empty that. So like I said, this is all tips. You wouldn't obviously, well, you can if you want to play the game like this, but I don't tend to. I like to play realistically when I'm actually playing, but it's just impossible to do that when it comes to filming, because you've got a plan in your head about what you want to do and certain shots and things like that. So let's drop this now. Drive course. See how we get on here. Now, like I said, I am recording this now, so it's probably not going to play ball, is it? Sod's law, something's not working. Oh, it is. It's going to cut right across the field now, which is annoying. But again, that so you can see now we're in the cab. We've got this distorted view again. So again, you can do it whilst you're in the cab, and when you're out of the cab, you can set that to 30. And you can run little shots like this. You know, zoom back, turn the HUD off. There's a great shot. You know, count to 5 or 10. You can move the camera around if the shot goes a bit funny. Zoom out again with your mouse. I see it stopped combining again. Something very odd going on here. But anyway, just for the sake of this, what we're doing now, it doesn't really matter. Let's stop it again there actually and just see if we can... Something not quite right here. Current waypoint. Let's try that. See if you start picking up crop again. Yeah. That's looking alright. Oh, I don't know. See what happens? See what happens? Like I said, this is why you do all this off camera. Let's switch it back to wheat and see if that makes a difference. Stop, driver. Right, combining again. That's what we wanted. So now what you could do is turn your HUD off again. You can do a slow pan around the combine. So just moving the camera slightly. This is why you avoid the stream for so long. Nothing works. Never do a live demo. That's the kind of, was it? Never work with kids and animals or farm machinery. I think that's the phrase, isn't it? So you can see I'm panning around the camera now. You can cut to behind it. You can zoom in. And just sit, you know, kind of these angles, and that setting that field of view to 30 is a really nice, you know, you can really fill the frame with the vehicle. Cut round it again, like so, and you just get these really nice shots going. And then if you jump out of the cab, you can do things like this, where you can then position yourself further away from the vehicle, but then track the vehicle. And again, it takes a bit of trial and error with this, with the thumbsticks. But you can master fly pasts and flybys with the camera. And that's when it starts to get really fun. Then you can start to get really creative. I think I realise what's wrong here. I think this edge of the field's got a little bump in it, which is knocking out the combine. So you can do shots like this, nice ones, nice kind of panoramics with that just in the foreground happening. Fly up higher. Fly back over it. It's all about depth. It's all about giving depth to the map and making it feel authentic. So there you go. There's a nice shot. I'm using the sticks on my wheel, Cadet. Yeah, I've kind of mastered them. So there we go. Just panning away from it there. Capturing the detail. So try and find the combine again. So I'll just leave him now. So he's done basically after the end of a map tour. It's carnage. There's stuff everywhere. But then you'll jump back. Let's jump back to. Let's get a little tractor, shall we? I've got a plough anyway. Ploughing's always good fun. Or we've got a little cultivator or anything like that. The other thing you can do as well is set up. You could absolutely play the whole time at 30 field of view. I find it kind of I'm sure you could get used to it easy. Basically, every time you get in a tractor, if you haven't set it already, you have to reset it so it's vehicle specific. But if I set that to 30 now, you've still got quite a lot of control about how far you zoom out and things. So when you're zoomed out really far, you don't really notice the difference. It's only when you get down to kind of this level, you've got really nice kind of undistorted shots. That's another good point from Mark. Actually, it just means it's not taking in as much of the map if you feel the view's closer. So you can bump your frames up. To reset it, by the way, you just go back to hit -1, and it sets it back to the base game size. So let me just go and grab an implement here. And you can do as much or as little of this as possible. I tend to just have it as a little, like an end frame, a little top and tail to the vid. So most of this will be the tour. I have no idea where the plough is. I just want a plough. How difficult is that? I don't want a mower, especially an offset mower. Oh, I don't know where it is. So again, things like this. See, I'm on 30 field of view here, and it gets very confusing. Things like this, I would just fire up store deliveries, and I would have myself got a little cultivator. I've got my machines off at the shop still. Right, this should be better. Should give me the base game stuff now. I have got I've got a little power harrow. That could be quite nice, couldn't it? I'll do, just for the sake of what we're doing. So that little power harrow, again, delivered where I wanted it, even though it's not. That's very odd. There we go. Let's try that again. Didn't make the noise last time. So again, there'll be a power harrow at the shop now. There it is. So we'll hook this up. FSG homage. Honestly, it does make them look a lot more just real, the shots. So let's take this guy to... They're really hilly, those ones, aren't they? That's a cow pasture. You've got to find the fields that are going to make it work for you. So field 21, let's have a look at field 21, shall we? And again, like I said, it just makes it easy if you jump between these. And if you go, no, that field looks a bit rubbish, I'll do another one. But actually, this one looks pretty good. So, again, you can... for some reason, it doesn't like it. You have to jump in and out of your cab again. Oh, course generation, field 21. We'll do 5 headland passes. We'll start on the up and downs. Generate field course. Turn all the stuff off so it doesn't show up in any of your shots. And first waypoint. Drive the course. Vision, just subscribe. Thank you very much, sir. So he's going to start doing his field. So, like we said before, I think this is this alert thing about to go off for a bit. I might turn it off. So here's what we said before. Don't always shoot your shots in the middle of the day. So for example, for this one, we'll set the time for 6 PM. Actually, I'm in the worst place possible because I'm in the shadows here. So actually, you want to set this maybe 7 or 8 in the morning. Oh no, we're just in a bad corner here, aren't we? 10 AM, there you go. So again, same principles as last time. You can go to field of view in your when you're in the tractor, and you can get down low, move about. So you can. It's quite good with this kind of machinery. You can follow the machines. So there you go. You know, that's a nice little shot. You can turn your HUD off. Again, even now, just move around with your joysticks to get the shot. As fast and slow as you like. I always like an in-cab shot as well, where you look behind and just make sure you're doing good lines in your machine. That's always quite good fun as well. Again, sort of count to 5 or have a plan about how long you want the shot to run for. Yeah, you could do a foggy shot as well. So there you go. You basically want to... I mean, I'm doing a map tour, so it's probably prudent of me to do slightly further out shots that give you an idea of what the map looks like. But if you were, you're shooting a harvest or something like that, obviously the focus is on the machinery. So, and you get these shots with an Xbox controller. Absolutely, T-Man. Anything that's got joysticks on makes the pans around the shots a lot smoother. So I'll jump out now as well. Here's another shot that's quite a good one. Set my field of view to 30 again. You can run ahead of the game. He's moving quite fast actually, so I might wait for him to come back. But just standing in the field's quite a good one. And wait for him to come past you. And just follow him around as he comes past. Still got flight mode on as well, so I am recording all this. I'm not following my rule of getting 5 seconds of shots. I tend to do this quite often. I think I've got a shot and then I move it about a bit. But you want a good 5 or 6 seconds of usable footage. So here we go. He's coming towards. So you basically want to frame your shot. Frame it so he's in the top corner. And just pan slightly slower than the tractor and he'll drive through the shot. So you see that? And drives out of shot there, and you've got quite a nice little piece you can edit into there. And then you can fly up, and while he's turning around there, you can do something like this, where you wait for him. There's a bit of waiting sometime. That's the other option as well. You can drop your camera speed, your tractor speed, yeah. Probably not pick the best thing here. So now I will just run towards him, playing with the joysticks a little bit. He's sort of top of shot. And just fly over the roof of him. Just drop the shot down as you go over him. And you've got these nice little edits. Rule of thirds. Fusion knows his photography. Fusion knows his photography. And then we'll just wait for him to come back again. Yeah, that's what I tend to do, Mark, is sometimes just play around with the speed in the edit. But then this one, let's say we want to kind of pan around him like so. And then you can actually then follow behind him. Again, there's a bit of trial and error in this. Took me a while to get used to this, but then you can pan up as he gets to the end of the row and show off some of the map. So there we go. Windows NT 7 embedded. There's a blast from the past. There you go. Tracks along here. You know, Nicholas, I agree, man. I shoot with a. I've got an SLR, an old film SLR. It's the same as records, though, isn't it? There's a sound to them, or there's a, you know, photos shot on film. There's something to them. You know, digital's too perfect. So there you go. Yeah, I mean, you can zoom right out now. Get a really wide shot with the map in the background, with it just sitting in the bottom corner of your shot. You can use the trees as well sometimes to hide you. That's not actually a very good one, but sometimes you can do nice things with the trees as well. So, for example, you could wait. I'm going to wait for him to turn around. You can lose hours doing this, by the way. Lose hours. So there you go. You just kind of shoot through the trees there as you come out. Gives you a little shot. So there you go. Mr. Turtle Speed, it's just, I've got two, as you could imagine on a PlayStation or an Xbox controller, two thumbsticks. I have two thumbsticks on my steering wheel, so exactly the same as you would get on a PlayStation. And just that close control, that close, very subtle movements on them. You can play around with, so you can still be quite jerky. Like we were saying before, the smoothness, you can turn the smoothness up in those advanced settings as well. So there you go. Just kind of start playing as you fly over them. It's always good to let the camera, not all the time, but you can let the tractor go out of shot as well. Yeah, FS Club's in the house as well. How you doing, man? I was piecing it together. Yeah, finding the little clips in all. You know, you imagine I've been recording this for 18 minutes. There's probably about 30 seconds of useful stuff in it. So, but it's good fun. It's good fun. So there we go. We've been an hour now, so we probably need to jump into edit, or we're going to run out of time, and you're not going to see the end result. So I'm not going to do anything as fancy. What I'll do, I'll stop recording, because we've got some. I might need to come back and grab a few extra bits of clip. So basically, we'll drop out the game now. So if I just quit out of this, and I'll jump to the desktop. How long's my average edit time for a total video? Probably, T-Man. A map tour's quite easy. They're relatively straightforward. But like an episode of something like Flint Hills or a Marksville that I do with Argsy, 3 hours maybe from end to end. If you think about, I mean, sometimes I'll create graphics and stuff as well, so I'm not counting those. But you know, if I've done a logo for a series, you remember I did the Iowa corn one for Flint Hills and things like that. They take a bit longer because I've got to do those in Photoshop. Damn it! I was going to show you how to get a decent screenshot as well. I will go back and do that. So we'll start a new project here. This is going to be interesting. No, I don't want to do that. Let's call this New Brook Farm Tour. And this is something else that over time. So here you've got your project. So in this bottom corner here, that's where you'll have your all your media that you import. 1 second, let me just load that. All the media you import. This is your timeline. Once you've got time, this is where your video will play back, and this is where you can control your footage and things like that. So first things first, we will import some media. So we will go into, and this is where it's important. You'll find this over time that you'll get used to this. I have a folder which sits on a separate drive called FS19 Captures. This has got every single one of my vids. So if I double click on this, I think this is my first ever video. Still, that's my raw footage from my first ever video. Still got it, and that's all saved off on a separate hard drive. Take care, Fusion. Thanks for dropping by, man. So what we'll do, we'll import our footage that we just that we recorded last night, and our footage that we recorded today. So Newbrook will be this one, I think, and there's today's. There's the stuff we did today. So we'll import both of those. And then I've got some other stuff that I import every vid. But I've got a little folder called Files for Edits. Now in here, I've got things like my animated logo. So there's my new animated logo. So I will import that. I've got a little subscribe animation, which I haven't used for ages actually. I won't use that tonight. Game servers logo for my affiliate status with them. So I'll import those. I will also go to import graphics files, FS19. In here I've got a chunk of logo. So every time I get a logo, so look, custom modding, SID, Courseplay, Argsy's logo, all the logos, every time I use a logo, I'll dump them all in here. But in here I've got my Giants partner badges as well. So there we go. Do I compress the backup? No, it's all raw, Mark. It's all raw footage. So then what I do, this was nice about Premiere is you just drag and drop. So Giants partner program, and then I have my game servers one. I shrink them just a little bit. I'll just let them pop up and then disappear at the start. I will import my. I won't import that first actually. So you've got to watch sometimes that the file size. Oh, Jarrett with the super chat. Thank you very much, my friend. That's incredibly nice of you. Thank you very, very much. What a gent. Take care, Christian. All the best. Well, hopefully you can drop in afterwards, Christian, and check it out again. What is this? That is not the full Newbrook import. That's another bit that I recorded because I missed the first bit. So this, I believe, is the full one. So let's bring that in as well. And I'll drop this into here. And I'll just do this as well to expand all the tracks so we can see it a bit more. So when you drop them in, it will create an audio file in a minute. I might just shrink this slightly so you can see both the audio tracks. So we'll just wait a little minute for that because it will draw itself. This is the problem with editing on one screen. That's why I do it on two screens. Tim Dayton, thank you very much for joining Farm Manager, mate. Razman, thank you very much. Very kind of you. Very kind of you. There you go, Tim. Name up in lights. Do we want a bit of music on while we're listening? This is quite quiet now. We haven't got game music in the background. Let me just fire up the. Let me fire up a bit of music. Let's find some stream beats so I don't get demonetized. There we go. Bit of techno in the background. Hope that's not too loud. So that's just drawing a histogram, which basically means you can see where your audio is on the track. No, I can't see it. Just give that a minute to come in. In fact, we'll probably drop that music again in a minute because it's terrible. Jeez, what is that? Right, that didn't last long, did it? Anyway, we kind of need it to. Be able to hear. We'll be able to hear our footage in a minute. So there you go. You can see now. This has not done it in the right frame size. So I'm going to change up a sequence settings just a second here. Bear with me. Frame size, it's going to be 1920 by 1080. I don't shoot in 4K because I actually think that the compression on YouTube doesn't really make it worthwhile. I can actually upscale footage from 1080p and it looks just as good. I'm sure that'll change in the future. And I think if I had a separate PC, if I had a streaming PC and I was recording on a separate PC, I would probably put it up to 4K. And I know Kadirk does it that way. I know Argsy shoots in captures in 4K. I've just never been comfortable that I wouldn't drop too many frames. So there we go. Giants partner badge. So there's our footage, and you can see the histograms that come in now. It's Farm Sim Guy here. Hope you're all doing well. We are here with another map tour, and today, so there you go. That's all working. You get to hear me twice. So good, you listen to me twice. FSG logo in there as well. Now that is a 4K file. So what I need to do there is to scale that to the frame size, and that's already got the audio behind it as well. Go. And we'll just do some, if we go to effects in here, I'll type in dis for a little cross dissolve, and I'll drop those in at the start and at the end of those two logos, like so. And you can keep playing this back all the time, just reverse it to there. Goes up. See, that is too big, so I can double click on that. I can go up to effect controls, and I think this is, I tend to set this to 43%, so it's nicely framed. And this one I think I set to 70%, and then they look nice and framed. That's so you'll recognize these from the start of my vids. You don't want to leave them up too long because people are like, yeah, seen it before, but it's got to help. There we go. And there's the intro piece. Now what I would probably do here, I wouldn't jump straight into the video. Hello everybody, it's the Farm Sim Guy here. Hope you're all... I wouldn't jump straight into that. What I would probably do is zoom out. Now somewhere in here, I've got a nice little fly past. So I just need to find it in the footage. And this is where it comes a little bit trial and error. Like I said, some incredible... Still talking. Shut up, man. Variety of crops and things like that. So, so what I would do, probably grab that, take it out of here, and then I'll leave that as the full raw footage. Remove the unlink, so you remove the audio tracks, so you've just got a little bit of footage. Zoom back into the start, and I'm still getting used to Premiere Pro. You've got to have your little thing, your track marker where you want it to be. So we'll put that there like so. We'll move this other track along because we'll join that up in a minute. We'll just play this for a second. So see what I mean here? I'm flying around here. This is just raw footage. In somewhere in here, I've got to find a bit that doesn't have a there's nothing in that one. So the other way you can do that as well is you can go to your media browser. No. You can go to here. You can find your footage. So there's some nice footage. I could just put an in point here. Ooh. There you go, I've got another. I'm going to go and find this. I have not looked at the chat for ages, so I apologise, guys. So there you go. Kidek saying, you know, it's a challenge to not drop frames, even on a punchy PC. It's a bit of a challenge. So hence the reason, you know, I was streaming and recording there, and you're playing the game. That's a lot of pressure on your GPU. So there we go. Let's take this. Do an in point. Do another in point when you realise that you slowed the camera down. So count to 5. See, didn't leave it long enough. See, I'm doing a rotation shot there, which is a bit nicer. So this is the problem. You remember the shots you did, you just can't find them. Doing YouTube, you get tired of your own voice fast. For real, man. Oh, I'm sick of the sound of my voice. Sick of the sound of it. So you could do an in here. Let's just play that. 1, 2. Just count in my head. Not Mississippi. Just sort of count to 5 or 6. So you do it in and then out there. Now if I drag that, it just pulls that little clip in here, which is quite nice. So we've got one there. Don't think anybody cares about the BGA. Let's do a nice... that looks like a nice shot there, doesn't it? So we'll do another in point there. We'll just let it run. Do a little out shot there. And why not? Let's go and grab it. There was a nice combine shot somewhere. We should grab one of those, shouldn't we, at the start? So what you're seeing now is I'm building up just a little bit of an intro. Just realised I can't use any of this footage because my face is on it. So that's a bit of a faux pas. I have to go and shoot that again tomorrow. But basically, you would grab a bit of that that footage that you'd taken there. I didn't think about that, did I? Oh well. But basically what you do is, and the other thing I would do, I also, anytime I download a track from Epidemic, I will bank it on my computer, and then I don't have to go and re-download it every time. So we'll go and import a few tracks. They are back in my files for edits folder, and I've got licensed music here. So I think a lot of us do this now for the cost of it. Epidemic at $10 a month is a phenomenal resource. I mean, the choice of music you can get through it is ridiculous. So that's quite nice. I've probably not got anything. Oh, that might be all right actually. Let's try that. It's loud. So they come in loud. Let's just drag this in for now. Just as we'll do it as a demo tonight. I will tidy this up after the stream, so that it looks good for tomorrow. But this is my problem now with having everything on one screen. I can't see more tracks. So what we'd do into this, we would go into here. We'd edit down the decibels on it a bit, so it wasn't too loud. Probably something like a -6, and you would just play it. And sometimes you can. Sometimes I lay it over my my logo at the start as well, and you can just subtly fade it up. I need to do this, don't I? Expand tracks. You get little wires on here as well, so you can fade it up nice and subtly, like so. Bring your clips in. You can put a little dissolve on those again. Just drag and drop it, and it's just I mean, you just sit and start building this stuff up, make that a bit bigger. And then switch between those two clips. Probably do something like that. Put another dissolve in there, and it looks something like this. That looks pretty good. We'll maybe drop in a little bit of text over the top of this. Forgot what the map's called again. New Brook Farm. There we go. So you can do that. You can change the font of that. Find something quite nice in here. I've got more fonts than I know what to do. One of the benefits of being a graphic designer, you're never short of fonts. Don't think we need the Fortnite font though, do we? That could be a low point for the whole series. So there you go. Play with your font. You can also put a stroke around your font. I strongly recommend doing this as often as you can as well, because you've got moving pictures in the background. Putting a stroke behind it just helps the text stand out against the background. So for example, there you go. You've got a little black key line around that, which is quite good. Better credit the creator, hadn't we? Drop the size of that down. Again, think about your thirds again, like we said before, top and bottom. Yeah, nobody likes that word. Nobody likes that word. Right. And again, with this, it's all about the subtleties. What makes I think what makes a really good video compared to just a normal video is just making sure your cuts are tidy. Using dissolves and switching between your shots makes a big difference. Sometimes, if it works, play it to the music so you can have hard cuts if it goes with the beat of the music. That also works too. So you don't have to always do it, but I think it helps with the play it. I don't know what happened there. Sometimes you get these little audio glitches. Hello everybody. I'll just fade it out there so that you want to. I always try to have a little bit of an overlap with my music before I do my voiceover come in as well. Hello everybody, it's the Farm Sim Guy here. Hope you're all doing well. We are here with another map tour, and today we are looking at Peter 716's. I don't have to say anything anymore. You can just watch the map tour. Latest map. That is New Brook Farm. He has been very kind and has allowed us early access to this. This will be coming out in the not too distant future. It's already been. Theodore, how you doing, man? Nice to see you. Been in testing once, and he's making a few small. So sometimes, and this. Kadirk and FS Club can back me up here. There are some videos when the chat flows and you don't fluff your lines, you don't mess things up, and there are other videos I sometimes will say the same thing 12 times. because I'm not happy with the way, or I forget what I'm going to say, or I forget what my link is. That's helped a lot now, actually, since I switched to multi-channel audio. So here, this top one is my game audio, and this is my voice, and the two are separate. Now, obviously, at the moment there's no game audio in there, but you can tell here, we've obviously got the noise of the car there, even though it's very quiet. So again, they're mixed together to the main farm. But if I... this, we will... and then we will do a little bit of a clockwise run around the bottom. You can separate those out, and you can cut your... so, for example, here's a good example of... but enough of that, let's grab a vehicle and get on our merry way. So I don't particularly want to have my shop bit in there, where I'm loading up my shop. So what I could do here is cut the footage here and here. I can unlink these bits of audio. Probably do the same here, actually. Unlink those. And then, without messing with my footage up here, I can cut the audio accordingly. In fact, I don't even need to touch my game audio there. It literally is my voice audio at the bottom here. I can butt these two bits up. So at the moment, what I've got here is... we'll head over to the shop, we will grab ourselves a vehicle, and we'll go for a little tour. So there actually is not a bad place to stop, because it's on the PDA. It's not a bad place to stop. But, like I said here, the shop comes into... for that, let's grab a vehicle there, and I don't want that. So I want to, if I slide this audio to here... so here we are at the dealer, we'll just about pick up... so there you go, fluff my lines. So again, I can cut that bit out. So here we are at the dealers, we're just about to pick up a vehicle, and I thought it was good to have a look around and see this is a lovely rolling map as well. So there you go. You can then trim those down, line them up with your previous piece, and then you've got this really nice little cut. Head over to the shop, we will grab ourselves a vehicle, and we'll go for a little tour. So here we are at the dealers, we're just about to pick up a vehicle, and so there you go. There was about 3 minutes between those two clips of audio, but I've just fixed it. So it seems seamless. And that's basically the game. You just go backwards and forwards, and you just keep trying different things. So now at the end there, you'll see we've moved that copy along. Merry way. So now, other than me sniffing, which I'll cut out as well, I can trim my voice audio, trim that, and trim that. So at the end of this now, again, I've got gaps in my audio there. But enough of that, let's grab a vehicle and get on our merry way. I'm going to trim that there, you won't see me sniffing, you won't hear me sniffing at the end. Way. And it literally is, like you say, FS Club, it's a puzzle. You just work your way through it systematically. The worst thing is, and I've done it a few times, and I'm sure you guys have as well, leaving a big, like you cut a piece out of your video and you go, right, I'm going to remove that piece, and then you output the video and you've got a chunk of 2 minutes of silence in there. That's always tough. Hey Viking, thank you very much, man. That's much appreciated. But I think it's funny that the hitting record and just letting it run. People can do that, you know. It's okay to do that, you know. If you want to do time lapse and you want everybody to see everything. But even I think when you do time lapse, I think Fusion and I have talked about this before. He's away now. You know, when you're pulling up menus and stuff like that, you might want to think about removing that bit, because you've got to do it as part of the game. I get it. It's whether or not you want to do just like, this is me playing the game, or you want to start to tighten it up and make it look a little bit, you know, sexier or more polished. That's when you can start to start to remove those things as well. That's a very important point, actually, T-Man. I have to set myself that I'm a bit like that as well. I'm a bit of a control freak and a perfectionist, and it doesn't want me to. Some stuff I just can't let it go, and I've had to find, especially with YouTube, there is a point at which you're just wasting time now, and that's where you could very easily lose the love for it, because you could become totally obsessive over it. And there's definitely vids that I've put out and I've gone, I should have put a bit more effort into that. And funnily enough, usually it's reflected in the viewership as well. Some of the better videos, but not always as well. So my top 7 mods vid that I put out, which I think is my second most viewed vid, it's got about 100 and something thousand views now. That was one of those days when I woke up in the morning. I was like, I am behind, I'm disorganized, I haven't done a vid yet. What can I do? And I have a book. In fact, it's sitting here. I have a book of stuff that I just scribble down ideas. I've probably got about 10 video ideas there that I'm sitting there. That's kind of my go-to. Obviously, I've got my series and things like that, but they go out on certain nights. So I like to do things like map tours. So for example, Peter sent me this the other day out of the blue, and I'm like, great, that's another video that I can do. But you kind of need to do map tours quickly. If the map has sent you the map early enough to say, hey, can you do a little bit of a preview tour on it? You kind of, that's the reason they send them to us. They want it out before it arrives in the. There you go. Kadek's got the same idea. And actually, the top 5 big tractors started off as a if I've either low on ideas or I haven't got time, because they're a little bit quicker to make than an episode of a series. You can chuck those in as well. So that's editing. We won't maybe not do any more editing for now. We might come back and do a little bit more at the end. What I'll do now, though, is we're going to jump back into the game quickly, because I said I would show you how to do screenshots. Unlimited money cheat. Sometimes you've just got to play to the audience, haven't you, FS Club? I think, again, it'll be interesting, Kadek and FS Club particularly, but any of you guys that do vids in here, let's be honest. For every connoisseur of any game, Farm Sim's no different to any other one, there is a niche audience. There is an audience that appreciates the beauty of the game and all the... For every single one of them, there's probably about 1,000 kids going, I want to make money fast and I want to drive the biggest tractor. And you know what? Sometimes you got to give them what they want. So, especially when you think about it from a YouTube perspective, and I know not all of you guys do YouTube, but you start to think a little bit differently. Sometimes I still think you've got to stay true to yourself. You still got to play the game how you want to play it, or talk about the things that you want to talk about. I think that's really, really important. But you don't want to don't do content for other people all the time, because it just you'd get miserable with it. You've got to Kadek and I have talked about this. You never start a YouTube channel. You never start an FS19 YouTube channel to I don't know, get famous. That's not a thing. If you're doing it for that reason, that's you're doing it for all the wrong reasons. I do it because I really enjoy playing the game, and I just thought I'd share it with other people. And it was lockdown, and I was bored, and so yeah, you've got to. People want to know information. That's at the end of the day. All I think we're doing is providing a service to share the stuff that we know, and majority of it. Again, I don't know what you guys are like, FS and Kadek, but my community knows a hell of a lot more about the game than I do. I pick up most of my tips from other people and then just share them on the channel. So, so from that perspective, it's great to be able to pass that information on. So we've just jumped back into game here, and I will have to switch my camera off for a second while I do this. But we will try and find a shot that works. To use as the thumbnail shot, and it probably is going to be something like this, you'll find a nice shot. Again, you can use your field of view again to kind of change the. It's less of an issue for it's less of an issue for kind of landscape shots, but that's quite nice. And you've got to when you shoot your screenshots, you've got to think about where you're going to put your content. So, for example, bottom right-hand corner is a no-no, because that's where the little clock pops up in thumbnails and tells you how long the video is. So if you put your logos or anything else down there, you might as well forget it, because they're not going to be read. And again, logically, people tend to read from left to right and usually start at the top of the page. So think about where you put your content as well. So from that perspective, so like even here now, my usable real estate here is probably that top strip where the mountains are and the trees are, and down the side. So something along the lines of this might work. Again, I'm not kind of flying through this. Let's give it a bit more depth. Actually, I wonder if having a field of view at 30 is not helping me there. You probably want to get a little bit more. So look at that straight away. I think that's a better shot, a wider shot. So what we do here, now I'm just going to have to tab out here because I'm going to have to turn my camera off and my alerts off, so that they don't get in the way. So for me, that will do as a shot. In fact, what I'm going to do though is change the time of day, because that looks a bit boring. That's slightly better light. The shadows are a little bit nicer there. I might just try another. No, too late. There you go. So that's nice. Then turn my HUD off, and then I'm going to use a tool called GeForce Experience. And if you've got an Nvidia card, this is the best way to get nice screenshots. So you go into photo mode here. Now one of the things you can do here, which is quite nice, is add in filters. And one of the ones that I tend to use, don't use them all because you can kind of go over the top with filters, is use depth of field, which is really, really good. And basically you move your sliders about. See that? I can play around with the depth of field. So my far blur curve, I probably want to. So those trees way off in the distance there, I think I would quite like to have them slightly blurred out. Now I can't remember what I'm doing here. My blur radius too high. A little bit. Come on. Talking a good game, and it's not working. I think it's because it's too wide a shot, actually. So I'll take this shot to get it done, but then what I'll do, I'll just give you a little bit of a demonstration. So I've taken that photo now. That's done, but what I'll do, I'll just drop down next to this Valtra, because I'll show you how it should work. Right, let's do a catalogue shot for the next Valtra farm catalogue. So let's position him about there. Now if I come around to here, set my field of view again to 30. So there you go. Now if I go back into my sorry, there we go. I'll go back into here. I'll show you where I retrieve it from in a little minute, T-Man. But you can set where it goes, basically, in the settings of GeForce Experience. So you go into photo mode again. So this should work better now. Depth of field. Why is this not working? Ah, there we go. That's the whole thing blurring out. Bump up the blur radius slightly. So there you go. The focus in the foreground's going there. So if I do bump up my far blur, why is okay? Come on. Something's not quite right. It's usually you can blur out the back. So that's my near blur field. So you can actually blur the front in front of the tractor. I actually need to find you an example of an image that I've done where it does work like that. Ah, there we go. So look there, that is probably more appropriate. See how you've blurred out the back? Blurred out the images in the back? So that's quite a nice shot. You can click in here and you can move it around again if you want to reframe your shot without having to do everything again. And then you just hit the snap button. Now you can save it as an HDR as well. You can really ramp up the resolutions on these. So if you turn it to HDR, capture super resolution photos. Look, I can capture, I'm not going to do it now because it eats things, but a 7680 pixel by 4320 pixel screenshot. You can save them as HDR as well. You can turn a grid on so you can frame it properly. Rule of thirds that Fusion was talking about before. So there's lots of control over this, which is really, really good. So there you go. That is, you can actually record and stream from this as well if you haven't got anything like OBS. They also got game filter as well, so you can actually add filters to the game from this. So for example, if you wanted I don't know, what have we got in here? A nice vignette. Look, it's put a nice frame around the edge of the... and you could play the game with that in. You could go really nuts with stuff as well. There's your vignette. There, you can play around with your depth of field stuff again that we just had on before. If you're shooting an old video, you can go black and white. So there's lots and lots of stuff to play with there, and they stay on. It would appear if you don't get rid of them. So I will just get rid of them for now. So a really nice tool. So again, if you've got an Nvidia piece of kit, check that out. And that's right. FS Club makes a good point there. YouTube caps you at 2 megabyte for your shot, so there's no point in going absolutely crazy and getting yourself the highest res shot possible. 1920 by 1080 is more than enough. So we'll just shut this down again and we'll jump into Photoshop. As soon as it does this, I have this silly thing where when you quit the game it restarts itself. I don't know why. So in fact, there you go, there's a shot I was talking about. There's a shot which has got really nice foreground depth of field and a little bit of background depth of field as well. That's a shot I did for one of my Millennial Farms episodes, and the one on the desktop as well, actually. That shot there, I'm really, look at the depth of field in the foreground. You can start to play around with this and have a lot of fun. So let's open Photoshop, because we do like a bit of Photoshop. So where did I send the picture? It goes into, I don't know why it goes into here. It goes into videos and it goes into Farming Simulator 19, and I think that's the default. I've never changed this, so you might have to. But basically, it labels every screenshot Farming Simulator 19 screenshot, and then it gives you the date and the time. So even if you can't find them, just Google, just search that Farming Simulator 19 screenshot, and it should find them. But again, this is my library of every screenshot that I've ever taken in game. So you recognise a few of these from my Purbeck way back at the start. Loads of stuff in here. Look, so here's a good example. West Texas vid. That was just waiting for the train to come along and grabbing a few different shots. There you go. There's some Bulls Gap stuff. A thumbnail for the meat packing on Bulls Gap. There's the potato series I did in Aberdeen, and there you go. There's the original shot for last episode on Bulls Gap. So you notice there was a chain on the one that I did, so I added a chain and went and found a little extra and added the chain in. So and they're in chronological order. So right down here at the bottom, I'll open this with Photoshop. There is our screenshot. So all we're going to do now, again, because I captured it straight from game, it's 1920 by 1080 already, so it's an HD size image, which is what YouTube likes to have as a high res image. No worries, FS. Happy to help, dude. So yeah, like we said, we framed it appropriately, so we had this space in the top corner here. So what we want to do now, it is New Brook Farm, I think, isn't it? And what I'll do is I'll find a better font than that. Who does this when they do fonts? They just click through them all until they find one they like. I've also found as well, narrower fonts tend to work. You can fit more stuff on. I also talked about this before. I think we've done a video thumbnail thing before. You're absolutely right, Farming Sim, frankly. You think about how people are into... Why do you click on a video on YouTube? Most of the time it's because there's something in the thumbnail that makes it look interesting. Between the thumbnail and the title, there's something in there that's captured your attention. So it's so critical you get those right. They're probably the biggest blocker for people clicking on your vids. And obviously, the more people click on your vids, the more the algorithm will pick you up, the more it will take you off on your way. Do you want to see my face again, or are you happy with my face off? Let's put my face on. There we go. I'm not gonna get in the way too much with that. I'll leave the ticker off though. So what I was saying with this was, I should turn myself off again. Stuff like this. I see a lot of thumbnails, and being a graphic designer, I'm probably a bit of a, perfectionist to this stuff. But just from doing it for years, I see a lot of people doing this. It's right up in the corner. You don't need to ram it into the corner. You want to give your text a bit of space to breathe. If you look at that, it's got a nice border, which is virtually the same all the way around. It just looks a bit neater. It's just a layout thing that I've picked up over the years. Hey Grant, how you doing? Well, the Aussies are coming online now. It always happens about this time of night, doesn't it? And again, what we said before, you think about most of the time, people look at these on a little phone or a little tablet. They're going to see it this size. So don't do your thumbnail at full screen like that and think it looks great. Always zoom out and see if you can read it. So for example, there, Newbrook Farm is virtually disappearing because it's light blue against a white background. So this is where you can get clever with colours. I tend to keep it quite clean here, so I would just add in select the right layer. I would add in a little layer style, and I would put a stroke on the text, and just put a little bit of a border. And this is actually interestingly remembered the last color I put around. But another tip here is, take your little dropper, go and find a color that's in the map. Make it associated with the image as well. That tends to work quite well in terms of this is silly stuff. This is kind of cues for your brain that they kind of join the dots on some of this stuff. It's quite interesting, the kind of the semantics of why you do what you do. So even there, that new brook, it's too close together. I've squished that text, so you see there it's starting to look all a little bit rammed in there. So even though it's a narrow font, I would maybe go into that and just stretch it. So it's just stretch it out. And again, this is something you'll pick up over time if you start using something like Photoshop or any of the editing software. Now, I use Photoshop because I've got access to it. I know it's potentially quite an expensive quite an expensive app. But there's an online piece of software called Pixlr, which I think I have done a video on before, which is phenomenal. Which, let me just see if I can. So yeah, there you go, Pixlr, which is in essence exactly the same as Photoshop, but all done through a browser. When I say it's exactly the same, it's not. Obviously, Photoshop's a lot more advanced because it's a kind of industry grade product. But for example, there you go, full HD. Create. It's got all the tools. You can crop, you can add text, you can zoom in and out of stuff. You can add layers, so you can move things on top of each other. Add an image. Let's go and get a screenshot just to show you that it works in here as well. So you don't need to spend money on this stuff. What What am I doing? I'm getting my screenshot just to show you that it works in here as well. There you go. There's our shot. Add a new layer. I don't know what I did there. Oh, there we go. Newbrook Farm. Oops. Now you don't have the same fonts and things to choose from, but you can select some of them. There's lots of options here. It's not like so you've got a nice BBAS in there. Go white with that. So again, this is a free web tool. It's nuts. Size. Let's bump the size up to, I don't know, something like that. And let's align it right. And there you go. I mean, how different is that to what I'm doing? Yeah, I think you're right, Mark. I think once you've got, once you've seen somebody's stuff and they like it, there you go. Canva online is another good one as well. Thanks, FS Club. Good suggestion. Yeah, you're right, Mark. I think once you know a YouTuber and you know what you get from them, you're kind of sucked in then, and you can go back and check it out again. Oh, Tyfly's become a member. Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. Don't know why that didn't pop up in the chat. So yeah, no, it's all of this. The best thing I recommend you do with all of this is just chuck yourself in at the deep end. Just try it. If it doesn't work, you'll get better with the next video, and you'll get better with the video after that. I look back on my early videos and I'm like, oh man, it was just an alien concept to me, speaking in front of a camera, and things like that. So it was quite hard. I got quite embarrassed speaking because I'm just not used to saying my own voice. Now I don't care. I'm sitting chat to what 86 of you tonight, and it doesn't bother me at all. But it doesn't come naturally. So you've got to get all over those hurdles, getting used to the software, getting used to doing all of the other stuff whilst just playing the game. So yeah, it's a bit of a challenge. John Lyles, yeah, of course. Shoot with a question. Absolutely. Dadil, do I have a more in-depth video of using Adobe Premiere? I don't, but I'm probably not the best person. I mean, I could do a tutorial, but actually there's some really cracking stuff out there on on YouTube already. And there's even some, if you go to the Adobe site, they do some good training stuff there. I'd strongly recommend checking them out maybe first ahead of me, because I use it a lot for work, but I would still not claim to be an expert in it. So that's great to hear, John. I'm glad my videos got you playing again. So what else do we want to do on here? Back to thumbnails just for a second. So what you want to do is probably give people an idea of what's what here. So this is a map. This will be a map preview. So again, I know I'm in a lucky position that I've had this map before anybody else has got it wider than that. So you want to tell people that, you want to say what's happening, because it will help them. And again, something like this, think about how you would read somebody or something. So again, if your fonts are the same size for the heading and the bottom bit, the eye's fighting between the two of them the whole time. So I would always lead with a main heading, which is usually the name of the series I'm doing, usually the name of the map that I'm reviewing or whatever it is. But then this is almost like secondary information, so I would make this slightly smaller. I mean, it's 257 point now. I'd probably go down to like 160 or something like that. Again, it's laid over. It's a slightly darker background there, but it's fighting with the image behind. So again, if you want to, there you add in another kind of outline to it. Now that green doesn't work because it's blending in with the background as well. So again, you could change that up to a black and just make that, just give the text the best opportunity to stand out. One thing I don't tend to do very often, it's usually a pretty video specific choices. I don't tend to put my logo on because the majority of the time they're going to be, well, perfect example, if you go to my page, if you click on one of my videos, what's my name? Farm Sim Guy. That's him, isn't it? Let me just mute the... oh, look, he's streaming at the moment. Guy's always streaming. Guy's an idiot. So if I, like, for example, let me pick a video, actually. So let's click on this video. Got to get my monetization, haven't I? Yeah, if they've clicked on your thumbnail, they've already seen the channel that it was on. And when they're actually on the page, I mean, my logo appears here. It appears in the bottom corner of the vid. They kind of know where they are. So you don't really, the only time we would probably show a logo, I've put it on some of the live streams this week. But generally, I don't tend to put it on because I think that the title and the thumbnail should be doing the hard work for you. Slightly different with live streams, I would say. But yeah, think about it from that perspective. So there you go. There's your thumbnail. What are you saying here, John? You're looking for a mod you had at one point that allows you to create groups of vehicles so that you do not have to scroll through all to get to the one you want. But there is one that lets you remove different vehicles to tab through. So I'm surprised it wasn't a Fanatec advert as well, Mark. I've got to say, geez, sim racing, it's a problem. It's becoming a real problem. But that's for another day. So there you go. There's your, let's say that's your thumbnail. Again, Farm Sim logo. A lot of people put Farm Sim logos on their thumbnails. I tend not to. Shop Tidy. There you go. Thank you, Tim. I knew it was something like that. Or Park Vehicle Mod as well. You've got the two options there. Again, you would just export this, save it for web, and this is where you want to be careful about making sure that size-wise it's okay. So my advice would be keep the quality in it. So get it as close to 2 meg as you can. But obviously, if you go over 2 meg, YouTube will reject it. So from that perspective, just make sure that you optimize. So this is sitting at 1.56 meg, and it's 100% quality, and it's maximum JPEG. So I can't actually make that any bigger. So that's ideal. But you'll sometimes find if you've got a really detailed image, it can go over 2 meg. I would say save them as JPEGs as well. They will compress a lot more, and again, same as issues before. Don't do it as a PNG because PNGs don't compress. So let me just give you a good example. PNG is 2.455 meg. PNGs are good if you want transparent backgrounds. JPEGs are good if it's a solid image, as far as I'm concerned. So there we go. So you'd save that out. And again, this is one of the key things, which is really important, I think, for keeping on top of things. I have a set of folders. So I basically have a folder where all my Photoshop documents are, so my layered files. And then I've got all my different video series in here. I've got different folders for all of them. So for example, there you go, Bull's Gap. There's every thumbnail that I've ever created for Bull's Gap. But at the same time, if I open up my Photoshop main file, let me just find it here. Survival at Bull's Gap. If I open up this, you'll see every. So there you go. There's all the elements that I use for survival. So again, if it's a Sunday night episode, I can turn off the live element of it. There's what I said before about there's the chain. So I basically went and found a PNG file of a chain, and I just did a little bit of tweaking and joined it up to the two tractors. Just adds a little bit to it. So again, Photoshop's really, really good when you get your head around it, and you literally scratch it. To make a thumbnail, you don't really need to know it that well. You just need to know some of the fundamentals. But it's a fantastic tool, and it's super helpful. So so check that out, or some of the other ones that we've recommended tonight. So yeah, I mean that's what's interesting now is I can, with those survival series ones, because the header doesn't change, you just drag a new image in every time. Simple as that. So bear that in mind. Basically, make it as easy for yourself. Once you've set it up, the first one's hard to set up, but after that, make it as easy as possible for yourself. So, Farming Sim, frankly, take care, my man. Remember, it's Argsy and Marksville multiplayer live stream tomorrow night. And then we'll know where your loyalties lie. So, there we go. Thumbnails, done. So, we've got about 10 minutes left. So, unless anybody's got any questions, I'll just hang on for a few minutes to see if there's anything else that anybody wants to know that I've not covered quickly. And if you're happy with that, that's your lot. This has been fun this week doing it every night, but I'm knackered. I'm really tired. I'm ready for my bed, and I get to have a line tomorrow because it's Saturday. That makes me happy. So welcome back, Case. Nice to see you again, mate. You've got bored. You're talking about mods now. Vehicle switcher. So there we go. A little bit of a dip into my world and what goes on in the background. I've given you all the tricks of the trade now. So there you go. On that note, I think we'll call it, shall we? How did I open up the Nvidia screenshot screen? That's going to Alt-Z, Grey Devil. That's the default keys for it. Alt-Z. And interestingly, it doesn't show up on your... if you're recording in OBS, it doesn't show up. If you're capturing the game direct rather than your screen, it doesn't show up in OBS as well. So you can grab... I find myself grabbing screenshots while I'm recording footage in-game. So definitely it's a good tool to have. So yeah, I hope you found that useful. Thanks very much, Dirk and FS Club, for chiming in on the other YouTubers' hints and tips and advice as well. I hope you found it useful. I want to see a lot of top quality content from all of you coming out. You've got no excuses now. Yeah, I want to see all your videos on my desk on Monday morning, first thing, for marking. But on that note, thanks very much, guys. Have an awesome weekend. We'll see you tomorrow night for Marksville with Argsy, and keep an eye out for this video because it will be going live middle of the afternoon tomorrow as well. So have a good one. Enjoy the rest of your days. Enjoy the rest of your evenings. And other than that, yeah, nothing more to say, but peace out, and I'll see you again soon. Take care, guys. All the best. Bye for now.